everybody. Welcome back to the Mallycraft Wood Shop. Glad you stuck around. We're gonna try to do some pretty cool shit today. Now that you've put all that hard work, blood, sweat, and tears into gluing this thing together, we're gonna cut a hole in it today. Oh yeah, we're gonna dive right into it, carve a big old giant hole in this thing, and then glue some more shit to it. Hell yeah. Let's get this going. So, you may be wondering this whole time, how in the hell is this guy gonna put a fin on this thing? Because that was the only thing I haven't done to this yet, besides glass and finish it. But we gotta do this before we can get to the sanding and glass and blah, blah, blah. So, here we go. We need to put a skeg on this thing. A skeg, fin, whatever the hell you wanna call it. This is your stabilization feature of the board. That way you can keep tracking straight in the water. And that way, you know, you're not doing this while you're paddling all day long. You know, you get to put the fin on there, you can keep going straight. Way mas bueno. So to do that, obviously we're gonna have to cut a hole in this thing, inset the fin box. This is separate from the fin, and it is adjustable. That's kind of, you know, a big thing to know about these. There is a certain spot to put them on the board so that they are adjustable, but the purpose of the fin box is to give the end user a little bit of adjustability for whatever style that they like to board. So you inset your fin box into the board, glue it in there, and then, what is that? About 3.5 inches of adjustability that they'll get. You know, of course, moving it forward, a little more side to side play, moving it back, keeps you going a little straighter in the water, blah, blah, blah. You guys all know that way better than I do. I build the damn things. So you're about 6 to 7 inches from the tail end of the board in towards the bow. That's where you're gonna wanna set the end of your fin box. So I've already got some rough measurements on here, kind of know where I need to cut it out, but we're just gonna get rid of all the, you know, bull crap first, and then I'm gonna get my oscillating saw, and we're gonna cut a damn hole in this thing. I just finished planking this, by the way, in case you haven't watched any of my other videos, which you really should. But yeah, this is about a 13-foot long SUP. It's stand-up paddleboard. I hand planked the bottom and the deck. So this is all custom designed by me. I didn't use anybody else's stuff. If it looks close to it, I'm sorry, or you should be apologizing to me. Either way, these are custom, hand decked and built by myself. Anyway, back to the mission. 6 to 7 inches in, that's where we'll mark the start of our fin box. So the rear of the fin box, rear mark. I just went ahead and put a gauge mark up here for when I'm cutting the hole, just so I know how far to go. I have my sides marked out, the width of the hole that I need it to be. So let's get this out of here, make it a little bit easier. Sorry. Maybe? There we go. Okay, those do separate. We'll just put the screw inside the box for now. There's your fin, there's your fin box. This is basically just like reversible. It doesn't matter which way you install it, other than the hole goes out. You gotta be able to put the fin in. Don't put this thing in upside down. That would be dumb. Don't do dumb things. We got our marks. We're gonna cut a hole for this thing. Once we get our hole cut in, we're gonna make sure this fits, you know, obviously all the way in. It does have some little stoppers right here so it doesn't fall through. So we're just gonna make sure that it sits on both of those ears on either end, nice and flat. Once we get to that point, we're gonna make sure that this surface of the board is level. So when we put this thing in, the box is level, and that, most importantly, we want the box to be level so that when we put our skeg in there, it sits 90 degrees to the surface of the board on both sides. You know what I mean? I mean, if your board is that crooked, you might want to start over again. Sorry, don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but yeah, it wasn't good construction. Anyway, we'll get there, we'll get it leveled, we'll glue it in. I'm gonna, once I get the hole done, I'm gonna have to turn it over and epoxy from the inside. So I'll be using, you know, like a squeeze bottle probably and a hose to get my epoxy down to the inside of this thing. Yeah, we're gonna try to do it all in this video. If we can't, we'll break it up into a couple. Thanks for coming back and watching. Let's get some shit going. I've got pretty dark marks made for the sides of my box cut. Just gonna lay them out again, right here. And this is pretty much how all of my boards are going to be. Just so that you guys know, or of course I'll probably say it again in the future because I'll forget I already said it. When I first laid this thing out on the bottom, this center stripe right here that's black is straighter than insert any old construction preacher's yin yang joke. You know what I mean? The black line is perfectly straight. It is the center line of the board. So that's why I'm able to use that as, you know, kind of like a template for my fin box. So all I did was just center up the fin box with that. Turns out that just outside of that center line, there are 2 3/8 width pieces of cedar, and those are the width of the box. So we're just gonna cut out a giant rectangle right here at the width of 3 cedar strips. Okay, seems easy enough, right? Don't it up. You want your oscillating tool. The other way you could do this, if you're, you know, don't have a beard and testosterone mainly producing genes, you can use a, I kind of cracked myself up on that one. That was an asshole thing to say. I'm sorry, but it was funny. You can get a track saw and lay your track out on the sides of these if you don't trust yourself being steady-handed with the oscillating tool. But again, if you have a beard and an oscillating tool, you're gonna be fine. You're not gonna screw it up. Trust yourself. Let's get cutting. You're gonna want eye protection, and don't forget, protect your earballs. You want to be able to hear. If your wife can't yell at you when you're 75, what is your purpose? See, I'm investing in our future. Safety glasses, earballs, eyeballs. Don't forget to clean off your glasses with your extra dirty t-shirt. It's tricks of the trade, man. I got just a little bit of wild right here. It's gonna be okay. That all has to be, all this has to be reinforced with thickened up epoxy. Think like micro balloons. So this is gonna have a good size dollop, if you will, of nice. Yeah, it's gonna have a good bead of epoxy on either side. Excuse me, that's what I meant to say. So we're gonna dig all this stuff out of the hole, make sure we're sitting deep enough, or actually make sure that even goes through the hole yet. I didn't cut it all the way, cut on the inside of the line, if you know what I mean. Normally, I'm sure everybody knows what that means, but just in case, you cut inside of the line, you leave it long. You cut outside of the line, or sorry, you cut inside of the line, cut it short, cut outside of the line, you cut it long. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna have to trim it just a little bit, but that's fine. It's exactly what I wanted. Where'd I put them? What'd I do? Set them down and they already fell. See? This is how you hide things from yourself. And everybody watching is screaming, "That's not what you did with them." Yeah, that's awesome. Hide things from yourself. Here we go. Right there, I took basically a blade width off of each side. You know, just a little bit of each time. You don't want to cut it too much because then you'll be way too much. So that's what we call tits. Okay, now all I have to do is dig this out just a little bit more so that the box will sit in here. There's already a little bit of framework that I'm sure you can see that the box will kind of set into. So I'm just gonna cut that out a little bit more. Yeah, and then we're gonna get to gluing this thing in. Sweet, okay. I'm excited. Cheers. will be asking, why didn't I, already have this built up on the inside and already have this glued in and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. You can do it either way on the next board. Maybe I'll go ahead and do that, so we're not having to inset this, on a board that we just built. But I figured a video about insetting the fin box would be pretty useful, so that's how we're gonna do it on this one, just for like instructional purposes. Really, that's it. Once you're done like hogging some of this out, don't forget to put your vacuum cleaner in there, or else you're gonna have some jiggly bits inside your board. Nobody likes jiggly bits. Shit. Don't write that down. Perfect. Now it's sitting good in there. Now we can set it on these ears. I'll go ahead and get some shims so we can get this thing set in. We're gonna probably just glue it in place with CA glue and accelerator right now, just to make sure that it's held in, and then we'll get it turned over and we'll start getting some epoxy set on it. Hell yeah. Yeah, and when, this is when the leveling part comes in, pretty important. This is good. We're making some headway. Again, I'll bring you over. It's not super important to make the hole perfect. The thing is to get the hole straight with the frame. That hole is by no means perfect, but there's gonna be a bead that runs the length, this side and this side, of thickened epoxy. And I'll probably go ahead and throw some sawdust in that from the board so it will actually match the colors along here. We're gonna have a lot of sawdust when we sand this thing. But yeah, just so you know, don't sweat this part as much. It needs to be accurate, but it doesn't need to be perfect. It can. I'm by no means saying don't strive for perfect work, but at the same time, don't go overkill and waste resources if you don't need to, right? Okay. I'm gonna get the vacuum, get this thing sucked out really fast. got the bone out good enough now. I promise. Okay, let's go ahead and get this thing level. I'm just gonna check it across all the surfaces right here. If you have like a bunch of bumps from how your planking was glued together, make sure and kind of plane that out first. That way your bumps don't throw off your level. So that's why I'm just gonna go ahead and check it here in a couple places and make sure we're not too cattywampus for anything. Tail right here is, I'm just using a stick under one side so I can do like little bitty measurements or movements. Use it like a wedge, you know. Okay, we're good with that. Set this guy in here. We'll make sure that it is now sitting level. I gotta find my little shims. Shims. Where does one find a shim? Okay, let's go like this. We're gonna just barely use the tips of these things to hold our little ears right here, like so. Okay, and like so, like that. And that's how we're gonna glue it in place. Let those guys hold those little ears just barely proud of the surface of the board. It's not gonna hurt one bit if we take off any of the surface, you know, like this much right here from these ears. That'll give us room to smooth this out with the surface of the board, and then everything is gonna look very, very clean once it's all finished in fiberglass. You're gonna love it, trust me. Okay, so we want to see this thing sitting level, okay? And it sits level. It does. Just like that. So move one under this side, just kind of prop it up a little bit, maybe. Okay. I was running the shims the wrong way. Sorry. Yeah, it's gonna take a minute just to get it nice and straight. Sure, you may have a better way to level it. Do it. Do it. That side I'm just going to leave with the board. And this one, I think I'm going to glue like that. Okay. This is where your thick CA is going to come in. I know you all know what thick CA glue is. an accelerator. We're using thick right here just because of the, you know, the gap between the fin board and the board itself. Oh, I didn't cut the tip on this one yet, huh? No? Wow. That was silly. You know how those caps have those little neoprene gaskets in them? That was like the hardest one I've ever had to get out. That was funny. Normally they pop right out. Anyway. Thick CA, put on a little gap right there. Let's throw some accelerator on it. Get it, close that gap up. Get a strong bond made with this stuff. Okay. Doing good, looking beautiful. Remember, if you think it went on a little too thick, we're gonna sand it off later. It's gonna be okay. We have a lot of sanding coming up, so if you're a fan, you're in luck. Remember, this isn't structural. This is just holding it in place for right now, holding it in the board level. That's all we want to do is just affix it in place. And then once that is accomplished, we're going to turn it upside down and we're going to get some epoxy in this thing, which is probably going to go ahead and run into another video, but that's no big deal. I think this was probably enough for today. It's a lot of work, a lot to take on all at once. You know, if you're one to freak out about doing really important things like I kind of get sometimes. More important it is, the worse freak out about it. Yeah, I know. I know all about it. Other thing about this, I'm kind of trying to seal it up right now too with the CA, just so when we go to epoxy it from the inside, it's not gonna run out. We're gonna tape it up as well. But this is definitely going to help hold that epoxy in. And believe me, you're gonna want a lot of epoxy on this. You don't wanna lose your Skeg, you know, going down the middle of Lake Tahoe and your beautiful board. That would be horrible. They're all gonna laugh at you. Okay. Now it's all horrible and ugly, you know, with the CA glue on it, but that's fine. We know we have a Skeg box installed. We now have a spot we can put our fin when we're ready. It's gonna look awesome. Check that out. I'm already excited. Again, thanks for coming back, everybody. I love that you guys are having fun watching these videos. I hope they're at least meeting some kind of expectation. Again, let me know if you hate them, if you like them, if there's anything you want to see different. I'll try to, you know, I'll try to oblige. Got some cool exciting news coming up, so stay tuned, check back in. You're gonna wanna see it, hear it, experience it. Yeah, anyways, appreciate it, guys. Have a awesome rest of your Sunday. Enjoy dinner, enjoy the work week, and go build stuff, all right? Sweet.